5:30, we have a quorum. Would you please stand as we salute the flags? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we'll honor the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Would you bow your head and pray with me? Dear Lord, we come to you tonight thanking you for the privilege of having a wonderful school district, of having a wonderful staff, and having a wonderful administration and students. Lord, we ask that you would be with us as we make decisions and do them that uphold the things that you stand for. In your name we pray. Amen. 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 Student spotlight.
Well, our student is on his way probably, so we'll just hold on and do that when he gets here.
All right, so we have a staff.
Yes, so we got Kristen Sullins is here, and with family in tow, Lute is babysitting. Well, yes, all is good. So Keegan wrote a really nice thing about Kristen, and I'll read it here for you guys tonight. But Kristen not only works to build a love of reading in our students through things like book challenges, reading menus, and themed book boxes, but she has made the library a hub of our campus. So Kristen is the elementary librarian. Students participate daily in enrichment activities during our RTI block in the library. Each semester, Kristen creates a library transformation where the library is transformed into a construction site, space station, winter wonderland, and more. Students get to experience hands-on learning activities complete with props and costumes. In our fall transformation, students got to visit the moon and engage in creative writing activities about it. Not only does Kristen run a fantastic learning program throughout the library, but she also serves as the testing and RTI coordinator for the campus. And we've never met someone that can build and run a spreadsheet quite like Miss Sullins. How about that, Daryl? Where's Daryl at? Yeah. So this year, Miss Sullins also took the lead as PTO president, helping plan and organize treats, activities, and support for teachers and students. We cannot say enough about Kristen and all she does for the elementary campus, but I do know that we would be lost without her. So that was quite the ringing endorsement, Kristen. So we're proud of you.
Wow, way to go.
Kristen, Keegan, you would come up too? Actually, you can even get it here if you want to.
I don't want to ruin the picture.
Kendall looked at me, she goes, do you really do that?
Yes.
All those things.
Go.
Got it. Thank you.
Wait. One more.
Oh, sorry. Well, guys, y'all don't have to stay for the meeting part. We usually have recognitions, and y'all can out here.
Well, thank you very much. We'll see you all friendly.
At this time, we come to the point, is there anyone here that wants to address the board on any issue that's not on the board agenda?
And we have one, Terrence Miller.
Okay.
Terrence, it's all yours. Mr. Amon will read the instructions, but you can come on up to the podium and we'll let you talk. So Charles, go
We have a little thing the law requires us to read. The board encourages comments about the district from members of the public. Anyone who signed up to speak in advance of the meeting in accordance with the board procedures may do so at this time. The board asks that each participant's comments pertain to district business and be around 5 minutes. For any member of the public who is accompanied by a translator, your time will be doubled. Remember that the board may not discuss or act upon any issues that are not posted on our agenda. In addition, the board has adopted policies to provide prompt and equitable resolution of complaints and concerns for employees, students, or their parents, and the general public. Copies of our district policies and procedures on public comment and filing complaints are available at the Gatesville ISD Administration Office on Lover's Lane. All right, welcome, and we'll hear what you have to say.
All right. Well, I'm here pertaining to my daughter, somebody know it, and pretty much any other student in Gatesville. My daughter received AAP for a fight. I don't condone fighting. Fighting's wrong. I know this, but this is something that she didn't start. She didn't swing first. She was pretty much, her and the girl were talking back and forth to each other. a girl whose parents brought her to the school to fight my daughter. And I don't think it's right that my daughter got AEP for pretty much just defending herself. That's just, I mean, telling kids that, look, if somebody do something to you, you can't defend yourself. And I think they're within every right to defend themselves. She just had a surgically repaired knee, and the girl attacked her, kicked her in that knee. So my daughter was forced to defend herself. And I just don't think it's right that she receives a 35 day AEP for pretty much just for defending herself. I mean, that's...
Terrence, they can't respond to you, but we will talk about it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say.
All right. Pretty
Thank you
straightforward.
very much for
Yeah.
speaking to us.
Yeah.
All right, thank y'all for hearing
Thanks,
me.
Terrence.
Here. Okay. Consent agenda is a set of items that we normally just pass on routine. And those tonight include minutes of the November 13th meeting, minutes of the November 16th special meeting to canvass the election, financial statements as of November 30th, bills and payrolls for November 2023, budget amendments to fund balance, quarterly investment report as of November 30th, vital signs, food service reports. Does anybody have any of those that they want to pull? Do I hear a motion that we accept those? Okay, Charles votes, seconded by Cheyenne. All in favor? Okay, that's approved, and now we'll go back to the recognition.
Mr. Willie Allman is here tonight.
Yes,
And,
sir.
Willie always has a smile on his face, and so we wanted to read. I've never got so many teachers comment on one student, and so I want to read I'm just highlighting some of the things they said about Willie. But Miss Burnside said that Will is such a bright light to have in class, and he brings all the laughs to my classroom. Ms. Coker said, in 5 years, I've never seen him without a smile on his face and a kind word to say to his peers and staff. Ms. Coker also explained that William, without prompting from any teacher, wrote an email to her explaining his appreciation for everything that Ms. Coker does. Ms. Shove said that Willie has a knack for noticing when someone could use encouragement or a friendly greeting. Ms. Irwin said that he's a leader among his peers and isn't afraid of putting himself out there. For example, he plans and organizes a student-led Bible study and recruits students to come to the prayer at the pole. Mr. Floyd said that Willie looks out for other students and makes GHS a better place every day. And finally, Ms. Weber described how Willie works with kindergarten students as a part of his practicum. And she said Willie's always done an amazing job helping those little ones out. And so lots of kind words and compliments, Willie. And Willie is a senior. Mr. Alderson was asking what grade he's in, so he's going to graduate here in May and go on to bigger, better things. Willie, what do you plan on doing next?
Sir, I plan on going to the military and serving my country.
Okay, wow, that'd be fantastic. I believe we've got a certificate for you, Miss Show. If you want to come on up here. Get your picture on paper. There you go. You say that. So he's going to get paper.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Willie. And Willie, the rest of the meeting, you do not have to stay for. It gets very boring. So we know you're busy, Willie. So all the recognees, they leave, so don't worry about it. You go.
Way to go.
Yeah. Thanks, Willie.
Y'all have a good night.
You too.
I sure pull.
Push.
The first discussion item tonight is replacement of staff lost through attrition and other personnel needs.
Well, tonight is all about campaign promises. And so unlike politicians, we had a list of things that we talked about when we got the 3 pennies passed that we would do with the money. And year 1 this year is all about stuff. So we'll talk about the stuff here in a little bit. But next year is about people, raises, and bringing back a lot of positions that we have ousted because of money constraints. And so we're in this vicious cycle where we're in a money crunch, And so through attrition, when positions that weren't just absolutely necessary, like a classroom teacher, when they would resign or retire, we wouldn't fill it. Or we would fill it with a paraprofessional, which isn't, as good a situation as opposed to a master teacher. And so one of the things that we want to do tonight is present to you guys some of the positions we would like to bring back or add new as a part of some different initiatives. So specifically, we are looking at STAR, and we've talked about how STAR is getting tougher and tougher, and how the accountability system is getting more and more rigid to where if you made an A last year, those same scores might only get you a B. And the state is going to come out with a lot of what if grades here soon. Well, we're not doing this officially, but you would have made X, Y, Z. Well, that is just as good as giving you the grade, because it'll run in news outlets and things like that. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping academics our main focus. And so what we would like to recommend tonight are 7 positions. So it's high school instructional coach. That's one that we let go a few years ago. Intermediate instructional coach, again, another position that we didn't fill it because we didn't have the money. Professional reading interventionist at intermediate. Right now, we have dyslexia teachers, but all of our LLI are now parapros to save money. Professional math interventionist at intermediate. Again, all paras, no professional. Professional math interventionist at elementary. Again, Keegan's got a parapro. A district dyslexia teacher. Dyslexia numbers are exploding. More and more kids are qualifying for that. And then finally, this last one kind of ties into a standalone agenda item here in a minute, but a pre-K teacher to start as a really good perk for the staff, a 3-year-old staff pre-K. So if I'm an employee at the district and I've got a 3-year-old, we get this program started, Advanced Campus. You can enroll your 3-year-old and have pre-K by a certified teacher here at Gatesville ISD. And I'm thinking, we've been looking at numbers, that we might be able to offer that for free, maybe. So we'll look at that too. And so that would be a great perk. If any of you have put children through LGLC or Trinity, different things, wonderful places, but it is, costly. It costs, what, $4.50 a month or something? So that's quite a perk for the employees that have 3-year-olds. So those are the 7 I'm presenting tonight. Questions, concerns, comments about that?
My question on the 3 pennies, how long does that money last us?
That's a forever thing now.
So now that you've done the 3 pennies, every time they have a tax increase that's voted, we'll get 3 cents out of it. Wow. Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure this is something we can fund long term, not just implement it and then have to lose it again.
Y'all done the hard work. It's over. And I still want to see, I believe that 86% approval passing rate is probably the highest in Texas.
I would add just a comment that I would like to see that also be approved for librarians. I think librarians need to be a certified librarian.
Yeah.
So,
That's just a thought. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel we can't have it all.
Right.
are you referring to the pre-K for 3-year-olds next year?
Yes. We had contemplated early on maybe starting it in January, but it was just too much. So Van just couldn't take it. No, I'm joking. It takes quite a bit to get that going, and so we want to do it right.
Well, he has my little nephew on side, so that's enough.
Yeah.
I would like to know more about the instructional coaches,
Mm-hmm.
the high school and intermediate.
Okay. So I'm gonna let the principals kind of handle that as far as, like, Liz, you want to start? What is the advantage of having a designated instructional coach versus just letting department heads, administrators kind of tack that onto what they're already doing?
Right. So I'd say on a perfect day, myself and the assistant principals were able to make it to every team collaboration meeting. So we can sit in with the English team, the math team, and then even sit down with teachers during their individual conferences to get more specific to what the teachers are doing in their classroom. we haven't had a perfect day yet this year where none of those planned meetings like went out the window, but having an instructional coach on campus would assure that that one-on-one time to coach the teacher, to collaborate with them, to help them reflect on what is going well in their campus or what isn't, versus, being at the mercy of what we might get pulled in different directions to do, is like an assurance and a guarantee that there is someone that specializes in instruction to help coach teachers through those barriers, or even to help move them forward in what is going well and to keep implementing that practice and to help spread it like to the team. As a teacher, when I was in the classroom, that time with the instructional coach was impactful just for that reason. It was that 45 minutes with them or with your team to be able to get specific about what's going on in the class and what to do with a unit or with this semester.
Do they meet by department?
Yes, they'll meet with departments or they'll meet with an individual teacher during their conference period.
And how often?
It can be daily. Sometimes, there's a coaching cycle implemented where it's like a weekly check-in. PLCs are daily for most of our teams, and then obviously the conference period's daily as well. So if that's worked into the schedule, that's happening all of the time.
And what departments does this include?
Well, we've got our core, like our math, science, English, social studies, but every teacher has a conference period, so it spreads to everybody. Those
Does he
individual people.
cover all of them?
Yes, they can, yeah, because that is their day. Their day is focused on instructional coaching.
It's also about, growth of the teachers too, because, just like what a coach actually does is going to enhance whoever, the team is. So if you think about it, if you had your kids who needed intervention, but also other kids who needed enrichment, we're talking about the same situation here. We've got a lot of great teachers, but maybe they are new to the district or new to education, and so they don't have all of those tools in their, in their toolbox. So a coach, what they're able to do is go into those classrooms, take a look at what they do, what they're doing well, what they need help with. And so it really helps to, pull everybody up, not on the same level, but also just, help them to provide those experiences and next steps. And so, you're enhancing your team all the way around.
Conversely, Keegan and Susie, would it be okay if we took your IC and just?
No. No, I go fight for it. I mean,
Yeah.
she's right, and I would argue that Gatesville ISD is filled with teachers who do the best they can every single day with what they know how to do. But there are still gaps in doing best possible thing for students, right? It's just like you would put a coach in any sport. There's someone there, like literally linked arms. All right, this is where your students are. This is where they need to go. Let's get there. Let's do it together. This is what we're lacking. This is, And if it always comes from an administrator, it feels punitive, it feels corrective, it shuts people down when you're already putting your blood, sweat, and tears into the job. But an instructional coach, we can say, okay, we're concerned about something specific, maybe the writing instruction in a classroom. The instructional coach can get in there, have those meetings with those teachers, make those, encourage the teacher to make those changes, help them find better ways to do it without it being a punitive, corrective thing at all time. And then in the long run, the students benefit. It really directly impacts student learning.
I would describe it as a significant support for our teachers too. Something I think that's different than what it used to be is the number of alternative certified teachers, because there's a pretty big teacher shortage, and so we don't have all of our teachers coming from backgrounds of student teaching and training, and so we get a lot of new teachers who step into a classroom and have never had that kind of training and support, and so that's a person too, in addition to us, but that's able to go support that teacher. Like, just speaking from, because I have an instructional coach still right now, I can give you an example of what she's doing. I have a brand new teacher that she's going in and actually teaching with right now. She's modeling, she's teaching some of her lessons while she observes, and then they flip and she gives feedback on that. And so it's been a significant, so instead of just saying, this teacher's struggling, good luck, we have a plan that we can put in place to help this teacher and support her for our students. So I've seen significant impact on my campus.
We're fearful with the new star that they're, like we had kind of preached to you guys earlier, that they're going to make public schools look poorly. they're going to drive those letter grades down. And they're gonna put us on lists and different things. Charles, you remember those days where a campus gets on a list and you've got to try to claw your way off the list, and they make you go through all these paperwork hurdles, and I think it's gonna be important to have some academically minded people there to help. But I get to Mr. Alderson's point, it's a lot of money. We wanna make sure we get our bang for our buck out of it. Any other?
And you have to interview carefully. You have to have somebody
Yes.
that's got really good people skills. Is this in the form of a motion?
So I'll go ahead and make the motion. I recommend that the board add the positions of high school instructional coach, intermediate instructional coach, professional reading interventionist at intermediate, professional math interventionist at intermediate, and professional math interventionist at elementary, district dyslexia teacher, and a pre-K teacher.
This is for next year.
For next year, but we were wanting to go ahead and get y'all to approve it, so we could go ahead and post it pretty soon and start hiring, because it'll likely cause a domino effect, because a lot of our internal people will say, ooh, we want to apply for that, and so.
I was like, well, sure.
Mhm.
Any further discussion? Do I hear a motion? Calvin, do I hear a second? Cheyenne? Any further discussion? All in favor? Good.
Very good.
Okay, we're moving right down the line
Yes.
to purchase of Chromebooks.
So another
Elementary.
another campaign promise with the Vatry. So one of the things we talked about, and if this were to pass, we need to buy a lot more Dell Chromebooks for especially the elementary, because they're starting to test all the third graders with STAR on the computer, and those lower campuses just don't have as much, and even primary needs to get a cart. So we're looking at purchasing 200 Chromebooks and 8 carts for the elementary. After that purchase, third grade will have 10 carts with 22 Chromebooks on each cart. First grade will have 2 carts, second grade 2 carts, and library will have 1 cart. Previously, each elementary classroom simply had 5 Chromebooks for station work. And so essentially then, and we'll be able to shift some down to primary, but GISD will be 1-to-1 for all intents and purposes from third grade through 12th grade after that purchase. And so again, we'll look to put one of those carts at primary. Shelley has been working on bids, and so she's trying to finalize some, but she said that we need to get this board approved so she can move, because some of the deals only last for like a short time. It's almost like a Christmas sale. And so we need to receive board approval tonight. I fully expect it to be less than $76,000, and we can always come back and let you guys know what it was ultimately, but $76,000 would definitely cover it. So my recommendation would be that the board approve up to $76,000 for the purchase of Dell Chromebooks and the charging carts that come with them.
I think that's a no-brainer. So we have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay, we have a motion by Charles, second by Calvin. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay. 3-year-old pre-K for staff children.
So this one wasn't necessarily linked to the 3 pennies, but it's definitely a perk for the staff. Like I said earlier, a lot of our staff, in fact, we have 19 3-year-olds of staff children that would be slated for next year. And so Van has already kind of found the classroom that he would use. We're thinking that if we had those 19 staff kids, it would leave room for 6 or 7 speech-only kids that aren't staff-related but just need speech support. And so those speech kids would have 19 really good language models, you know, through the staff kids. And so it's a win-win for the kids. And so if we get it approved tonight, we could start researching what supplies we need to buy for the classroom, hiring the teacher. The teacher would probably need a couple of aides to help her out, him or her out. And so, again, we're still debating about if we charge something or if Daryl can crunch the numbers and think that we don't. We don't have to decide that tonight. But I would recommend that the board approve the 3-year-old pre-K for staff children so we may begin finalize the details related to staffing, class setup, and administration.
Do I hear a motion? Calvin? Do I hear a second? Any further discussion? All in favor?
A lot of good stuff
Good
with
stuff
teachers,
there.
yeah.
Policy update.
This is one of those every 6 month kind of compliance pieces where TASB sends us these local policy updates, and they've got a lot of legal changes and different things in there, and we trust TASB. When TASB tells us to do something, 99 times out of 100 we do it. And so their lawyers keep us out of trouble. And so they also provide a brief little summary of all the little things that they tweaked. And so there were probably about 12 things that got worded a little bit differently, or they added something because of a new law. And so if y'all saw anything in there that you wanted to ask about specifically, but again, TASB keeps us out of trouble. And so we abide by their recommendations. And so my recommendation would be to replace, add, delete the local policies as listed in the board agenda per the recommendations by TASB.
Do you hear a motion? Okay, Charles, a second. Cheyenne, any further discussion? All in favor? We got it. This time it is now 5:56. We'll go into executive session.